Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Haley and you're watching Between the Pages. I have a book review for you today, and that is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. You will know that I went into this very hesitant. One, because it's Alexandra Bracken, and I did not have the greatest experience reading lore, which was like a Greek mythology inspired book. This one is King Arthur inspired, so again, I was very hesitant. I'm not really into King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but I gave it a try and I actually really loved it to the point that I ordered the Owlcrate matching sequel to this. Forget what that one's called, but I will eventually get to read that one. Hopefully it won't pop up in season 2 of Owlcrate TBR Veterans. Don't ask me when that's going to be. It'll be at some point. I'm not even done with season 1 because I have been derailed by other books and projects and stuff that you have seen in my update video if you watched that. So yeah, now we're just going to talk about this. So this book is definitely rivals to lovers. And I say that because I guess a lot of people would think it's enemies to lovers, but Tamsin and the main love interest are very much like, they come from like, in this society where they hunt down like mythical treasures and stuff like that. I forget what their actual profession is. He's kind of from this family who's very affluent and very well known, and she is basically like the adopted daughter of I don't know, like I want to call him like a rascal, like a kind of that character where it's like everybody hates him. He's not very professional in the way he deals with things. And so, yeah, it's more of like almost like academic enemies or like academic rivals to lovers. So I really liked that. It reads like a fairy tale and like very mythological, which makes sense considering that it takes inspiration from King Arthur and the myth of King Arthur. I am pretty sure that Emrys, who is the main love interest, is like already head over heels for Tamsin, like prior to this book happening. Like it very much seems like a he falls hard and falls first type trope. Because it just seems like he has this like admiration for her and everything like prior to this book even starting. So I kind of already knew going in that those two were going to end up together. There are some characters that are implied to be dead that are not dead. So that's also why I picked up the sequel, because I was like, I need to know what happens with these characters, because the end of this book feels very much like lore, which makes me a little apprehensive going into the sequel just because of the way it ends. And now, like, instead of us being in this fantasy world, we're in the real world. So it's going from like a traditional like portal fantasy to an urban fantasy. So I'm curious to see how that works out, because I am not really an urban fantasy girly. I am with certain worlds, like the world of the Wren and the Holly Library. Like it's like adjacent to our world, where it's like it's not set in like an actual city that exists in our world, because I think this one takes place in like Boston, I think, or somewhere in Massachusetts, if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I've read it. But yeah, it takes place in like the actual like our world, so we'll see how that ends up. And then the end is very Queenie and Jacob from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, in that they are now, like, her and her love interest are now on the opposite sides of a conflict. And so it's kind of like, I'm hoping that the sequel will be them like getting back together and like finding their way back to each other, and kind of their relationship flourishing and everything like that, because they were building a relationship and then like something happens in the book and like completely ruins their relationship, and now they're on the opposite ends of this conflict. So I'm really curious to see where the sequel goes. Again, I don't know when I'm gonna get to it. Hopefully it won't be like 5 years from now. But yeah, that was my review for Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken, and I will see you guys later.